morning, Marines. Good afternoon, Marines. My name is Corporal Chavarria. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about the process of reintegration from a post-deployment, okay? So here's the story. A Marine gets off a plane after months of being overseas, okay? Maybe some people, are waiting for him. Maybe some people have signs. Maybe some people, they're running up to him, giving him hugs, Maybe later that day, he goes out and gets some food he's been thinking about for weeks. But guys, at the end of the day, that service member sleeps in his bed, okay? Then a couple weeks later, he finds himself up at 1 in the morning in the living room. But he feels worse than what he did while he was gone. Okay? Nothing bad has happened. The only thing different is that he's home now. Which is what he wanted. Which is what he thought he wanted, the whole time while he was gone. The thing is, he just can't slow down, and the people around him are also starting to notice that. This happens to a lot more people than you would think. According to the United States Government Accountability Office in 2009, the Department of Defense has relied on almost 2 million service members since September of 2001. Most of you, which means most of you will end up working with the veteran or already have one in your family. When you do, you'll probably ask them, hey, what was it like over there? Okay? That is the wrong question. And by the end of this speech, I will give you the right question to ask. I am a service member and I have gone through the post-deployment screening process as well. So this is almost my exact story, okay? Just like it is for a lot of other service members. I went through the stages I'm about to talk to you guys about. I also researched this topic because one person's story, guys, is just a story, right? And I wanted to know whether what happened to me was a pattern or if it was just me. Spoiler, it turned out to be a pattern. Today, I'll provide an overview of the reintegration process by discussing why the military waits months to screen returning service members and what those months look like for families and what support exists. Okay. Let me start with the part that surprised me, even though it happened to me. Okay. The military does not check on you when you land. The military does not screen you right when you get home, and that is on purpose. A 2007 study in the Journal of American Medical Association, one of the most respected peer-reviewed medical journals in the world, explains why. Milliken, and Hodge followed soldiers returning from Iraq and compared what they reported on the screening right after they got home to what these same soldiers reported 3 to 6 months later. Soldiers were much more likely to report symptoms of post-traumatic stress on the later screening and reported relationship problems went up as well. We'll fix that. The research is what the policy is built on. According to the United States Government Accountability Office in 2009, the Department of Defense created the post-deployment health assessment in 2005. And it has to be given 90 to 180 days after a service member returns. That equipment applies to every service member coming off a deployment, and not just the ones in these studies. The military knows you will look fine at the airport, so it does not ask at the airport. Okay? It waits and asks later when it can get a real answer. Stay with me now. The screening exists because of what happens during those months. So let me tell you what those months will look like, or what they look like, okay? Michigan State University Extension, the public education branch of Michigan State University, lays out a 7-stage emotional cycle of deployment. And the last stages all happen after homecoming, okay? Stage 6, return adjustment and renegotiation. Starts after 6 weeks after the service member gets back, and that is when everyone starts to realize they all changed while they were apart. Stage 7, reintegration and stabilization. Okay. starts around 6 months out. Research shows how rough that stretch is. A 2015 study in a peer-reviewed journal work by Wilcox and colleagues surveyed service members coming back from a year in Iraq and checked on them again at 3 and 6 months. They found real rates of relationship problems, drinking problems, and mental health symptoms, even in service members who had not seen much combat. Okay? You can be home for 6 months and still not be back. And the people close to you will feel it before you yourself will even admit it. Because this pattern is so consistent, there are programs built for it. Programs exist for this exact window. And the research says they work, but a lot of families actually never hear about them until it's too late. The Department of Defense runs the Yellow Ribbon reintegration program built specifically for reserve component service members who often come home to towns nowhere near a base. According to the department's program, materials units hold reintegration events in the months after deployment ends, starting no earlier than 30 days out, which lands right on the stage where relationships are under the most strain. These programs work. A 2016 study in a peer-reviewed journal, Military Psychology, by Schneider and colleagues, evaluated an Air Force program that puts service members through a short decompression period before they go home, compared to a group that skipped it. Participants reported lower levels of depressive and post-traumatic stress symptoms and lower relationship conflicts after returning home. So guys, today I gave you guys an overview of coming home from a deployment by talking about why the military waits 90 to 180 days to screen returning service members and what those months look like for families and what support exists. So guys, here's the answer to the question I promised you earlier. Or I guess the question that I promised you earlier. When somebody tells you they just got back, do not ask what was it like over there, okay? They've already answered it like 10,000 times. Instead, what you should ask is, how's it going here? Okay, that's the part that is happening right now, and that is the part research says is the hardest. And most of the time, nobody ever asks. So once again, guys, I'm Corporal Chavarria. Thank you guys for your time. Goodbye. Same time?
Yep. Just 5 seconds, shorty.